All right guys, on today's project, I am working at night, so I hope you can see well. We're going to be working on a chicken coop, and this is not any ordinary chicken coop. I want it to be a sled chicken coop, that way I can pull it around the yard so they can actually till the grass up, eat bugs in certain areas. And the way I'm doing it is, so I'm going to be putting a couple eye hooks here and here. This is going to be the front, and this is going to be pulled. So I'm afraid that if I pull it with my lawnmower, I'm eventually going to be pulling it out of this 4x4 post here, so it'll go like this. I'm hoping it will not go like that. So what I did was I cut out a notch on each side. That way they will fit interlocked together, and I'm going to put a couple lag bolts on each side. And the bottom of the back will be exactly the same. That way when I pull it, it's pulling both of these, not just this one here. And then we're going to be building it up. So with that being said, let's get started. So what I'm going to be using to attach each corner is these 7-inch lag bolts with a washer on the end so it doesn't suck too far into the board. And I've already pre-drilled every corner, 2 lag bolts per corner. So with that, let's go and get them in. Alright, so I got those 2 in. I'm going to use my square to make sure everything's square before I do the other 3 corners. Alright, so I have 2 walls built. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and stand them up and attach them to the actual sled here. Screw them in, and then we can actually work on the front and back walls. Alright, so I don't know if this is actually completely square. So what I did was I fastened one screw down here where it is kind of flush, and I'm going to keep moving the wall back and forth along the actual sled here to make sure it's actually even with the sled's boards. So just little moves at a time. Alright, now that wall is completely fastened. It's pretty sturdy. You can see it's kind of wobbly, but once we get these other walls up, it'll all start to sturdy up. Now, the total dimensions of the outer perimeter of the sled is 8 feet and 5 feet. 8 feet by 5 feet. Now, the actual run here will be completely 8 feet by 5 feet because the chicken coop that they can actually go into is actually going to be raised about 18 inches off the ground. And the inside quarters that they can actually go into is 36 inches by 5 feet. So it's more than enough. It's going to have some nesting boxes in there. Now you can see over here, I do have this brace here, but not over here. The reason is because I'm going to have a big door over here. That way if I put wood shavings in there, I can scrape it all out the side here and then close the door back. That way I can clean it, do maintenance if I have to. Now the next step is I need to work on this back wall here. So I'm going to go and start studding this out and have those attached to these 2 side walls to help strengthen it up pretty good. Alright, so we have the back wall here completed. And I will add a couple other studs right here because the nesting box will actually be on the outside of this enclosure for them. That way I can just lift up a hatch and reach in there. So I'm going to put a couple studs here. That way that nesting box will attach firmly to the studs. I just don't know where I want to put them just yet, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and get this installed. It just slips in place. It fits perfect. Alright, I'm going to go and sink some screws all the way around, and let's get this sucker done. Alright, now that I got the base screwed in, I'm just going to go up the walls and get it kind of flush to the edge. Alright, so the next step is let's go and finish out framing the actual nesting box area. That way we can work from the back frontwards. It's pretty sturdy now. Alright, so this is actually going to be like the front facing of the nesting box. It's going to have a little, basically like a doggy door or chicken door. And what I did was I put these cleats in here. And this is going to sit directly on top of that. Because when I was actually designing this all in my head, I didn't really think about how I would attach this, but I need something for it to rest on, so that's why I put those cleats there. So let's go and get this in. Once again, I built it for the perfect fit. Alright, I got all my screws started. Now let me go and line it up, and I'll start at the bottom. All right, now that I have this kind of done, I'm going to go ahead and put two studs here, another stud here. That way that will be the chicken door, basically. So what we're going to be doing is putting in the studs around the door that the chickens will come in at. So I've already marked a line here, here, and at the bottom. So I'll go ahead and get my screws started. All right. Now all that's left is put it in the top of the door here. I'm trying to figure out exactly how tall I want it. I think I do want the actual front of the door higher than the inside, in reference to this lip. Just because when the chickens are coming in, I don't want them like pushing all the shavings out. So now that I think about it, I'm going to put this, let's just go and say 6 inches above. And then from there, I'll do a foot, so 18 inches. 18 right there. All right. All right, we're on day 2 of the build. So what we're going to do today is going to put a few more studs in here, help support the floor, and then we're going to actually start hanging up these walls on the back, the 2 sides, possibly the front. So it shouldn't take too long. So let's get started. All right, I got a majority of the walls all cut out, I think about 80% of them. So I'm going to go ahead and start attaching all those walls just to see what I have left over. So I have most of the walls and the subfloor here inside of the actual chicken coop. So let's first start with the subfloor and let's go and get this sucker screwed in. Alright, now with the subfloor, I am going to have linoleum actually on the bottom. That way I can just take a broom and sweep all the shavings out, because I do want to put shavings in there. I do want to clean it out once a month or so. And also during winters, which we live in Southeast Texas, there's not harsh winters. I do want to have some sort of insulation, because the walls are not going to be insulated, but the floor will get cold. And I don't want them getting that cold, but it'll help insulate it a little bit. All right, now let's move to the back. All right, just by actually adding the back support and the bottom down there, it's actually extremely sturdy. All right, now that I've actually hung this piece, I'm going to go on the inside and trace out the actual chicken door, so the chicken entrance. All right. Before I actually cut it out, I actually want to put a 2x4 behind this to screw this to, because if I have wood shavings in here, every time that they go in and out, all they're going to be doing is dragging it. So I want to create a lip here that will stop those wood shavings from coming out. So I'm just going to simply put a 2x4, hit it in there, and you're in your pajamas. Turn the new doghouse on.
But no, they over there's the doghouse. It is not there anymore.
Alright, now that I've added the lip there, now I'm just going to go and attach this sheeting here. Alright, now for this side, what I used was this piece of 4x4. I cut off the actual length of this bottom frame. I just put it there on the right up next to it. That way I can set my next piece on it, and it'll give me a perfect angle that I need to cut it off, and that's how I actually cut this out. Alright, so the way I'm going to do this roof is, on the back it's just going to be tin metal that I have there, and it's just going to be straight down. On the front, I kind of want like a geometric shape. So what I plan on doing is, since it's flat in the back, I'm going to do a curvature top in the front, but I have to get the curve. So how am I going to get the curve? I'm going to put this, I'm first going to screw this in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build it up here, so that way I can bring another rafter across here, just another 2x4, and that's going to sit on top of this build up here of wood I'm doing. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright, now that I have this cut out, I got an angle set for the angle of the roof on the back end, because if not, the 2x4 corner would actually hit. So I'm going to go and screw it into the rafter up top. Alright, I went ahead and changed my mind again. So what I'm going to do is, instead of the rounded roof, I'm actually just going to make it straight, just to make it even, just make it simple. So what I did was already cut these rafters here. Each one of them will fit perfectly where I lay them. Now with them sitting on top, let's go and screw them in. Alright, so what I did was I cut these blocks here, and they're going to go in between the rafters. I just want this to block any critters from actually getting there and protecting the chickens as much as I can, such as raccoons or possible snakes. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is attach these pieces of tin. It comes in 8-foot sections. I think it's 21.5 inches by 8 feet. I cut it right down the middle, so 48 inches, and it's going to have plenty enough on hangover. That's how I actually designed it, so it's actually a perfect hangover. And what I'm going to do is I'm first going to start over here, like you always should, because I'm going to get it flush with this side of the chicken coop. And I have these 2-inch wood screws. They're for sheet metal or for tin like this, and I'm just going to go ahead and screw it in. Alright, so what I have here is just weather stripping, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to block snakes and other critters from crawling between the tin and the actual wood here. So this expands to 1 inch. It's 1 inch by 1 inch. So I'm going to set it under there, let it expand. I'm going to screw the actual tin to it, and it's just going to suck down so no snakes can actually get in. And I did both sides. I don't need to do this side because this side is actually going to be protected because it's going to be flat. But with these ribs here, that's where I needed protection. Alright, with the front tin done, let's go ahead and move to the back. Alright, so I was hoping I wouldn't have to, but hold on. Alright, so the thing is, when I put the tin like this, it sags in the middle, so I got to put a support there, but I don't want to. So then I'm thinking, well, why don't I just put it like this? Only problem is, in these grooves, water may come and just sit there. Yeah, let's not do it that way. Alright, we're just going to have to bite the bullet. We're going to need one support here, one support there. Not in the middle because it has this hump here and that's already going to support it. So I'm going to get that cut. So let's go ahead and cap where we left off. So I went ahead and put all the tin, it's all screwed in nice and secure on the front and the back. All that's really left is a ridge cap in the front. And also I'm going to put another cap on the front to help keep that water out from getting on the 2x4s from the roof. And that's about it. Now let's go ahead and go over what we're going to see in episode number 2. So episode number 2, I'm going to build a big nesting box that hangs off the back that I can access with a door back here. Also all the wire on the bottom, on both sides, and this is going to be a big door so I can clean it out. Also I went ahead and made the decision. I went ahead and bought foam board, so I'm going to insulate the whole chicken coop inside. So that'll be nice for keep them warm in the winter. And also on the front, I'm going to go and build a cattle panel door. That way I can get in and access it if I need to. And also it's going to have a spring so it can always stay closed. And also I'll put like maybe a kickstand as well so I can keep it open in case I want to let the chickens out. But I do want this to be mobile. That's why it's on a sled so I can pull it with my lawnmower or truck. But anyways, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.